AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
Good morning, race fans, and welcome to the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Get to Joe's today. It's fast-paced, white-knuckle racing. We're the only speed restriction. It's how fast you are.
And you're not.
One more time. That horse has been dead for about 2 years now. You just keep on beating it, buddy. Even though I have two different printouts that prove I'm faster than you. I got them as evidence. Rich got them for me.
All you got to do is create a Microsoft Word document, post and paste.
Rich can print them off again. He's told me that several times. He printed off once for me. I got proof. Anyways, joeskarting.com. Karting with a K. Get to Joe's today. It's good old family fun. Legitimately, you could go with your friends if you're 16 to 25. Go with a group of friends, have a good time. If you're a parent, take your kids. You do have to have a learner's permit or a driver's license.
We want you to have a permit, but if you're 14 and over, we're going to let you run it. I tell you what we had in last week, though. This was so cool. Of course, everybody knows, unless we're live, we record on Wednesdays. So last Wednesday, we actually had, down in Lincoln, there's 120 college teams in the state of Nebraska. These universities, it's like University of Kansas, Iowa State, Michigan, from Ann Arbor up there. They built Formula One SE cars. And they design and build these cars, and then they come out with a marketing plan as to how they would sell these cars. So we had the team from the University of Michigan in, and man, they just had a blast. I mean, it was just so cool to come from Ann Arbor, to go down to Lincoln, get the car set up. They came back up into Council Bluffs, to Joe's. Just, I mean, like I said, couldn't say enough good stuff about us, and just really cool people. So you never know what we're going to have in there. That's
Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, 23rd Avenue, right in the same area as the AMC 17 theaters. Quaker Steak and Lube, which is a fine sponsor of this program. Ruby Tuesdays, Mid-America Center, all in that same exit. In about, I think the construction there feels like it's going to be done in about 28 years.
Wow, you're more optimistic than we are.
It's really cool, though, to watch that whole thing come together, though.
Oh, right on the river as you're coming. Yeah,
they're starting to pour the concrete for all the big overpasses and all the big interchanges.
Question for you.
It is insane how big that interstate's going to be when they're done.
Oh, it's intense. But when you go east over Council Bluffs, when you go eastbound going into Council Bluffs, and you got that one great big massive bridge that comes across. Yeah. I was telling my family, I was like, do you want to be on that in the middle of the wintertime? Because I don't.
Oh, they'll keep it well salted.
I would hope so.
Very well salted. And plus, you shouldn't be going that fast over that thing.
Even when it's dry, no.
But some dipweed's going to do it, though. You guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Results from Michigan International Raceway. Your top 10. Clinton Boyer came home in 10th. Joey Logano 9th. Kyle Larson got himself another top 10 finish. The rookie continues. And by the way, congratulations. What is he, 12, 13 years old? Going to be a daddy. I'm kidding. He's 19. But he's going to be a daddy. He announced in Michigan last weekend he's going to be a dad. Yep. How about that? Announced it on Father's Day weekend that he's going to be a dad. Let's see. Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes home 7th. Jeff Gordon 6th. Casey Kane 5th. Paul Menard. Good for Paul Menard. Had himself a very good run at Michigan. Not something that he snuck in with strategy. He had a strong car all day long. Brad Keselowski 3rd. Kevin Harvick, the crowd favorite for the Pick'ems contest, came home 2nd. But your winner for the 3rd time in 4 weeks and setting a new Hendrick Motorsports record, Jimmy Johnson gets the win. You realize for the last 5 weeks of racing, Hendrick Motorsports has had a win? That's the longest streak Hendrick Motorsports has had, 5 straight races.
Wasn't Michigan one of the tracks that Jimmy Johnson had struggled at and he hadn't won yet?
Yep, that was one of the few tracks he hasn't won at.
Now, this last Sunday that we're talking about on Father's Day, I didn't get to watch the race. We had a nephew born into the family that day, so everybody's kind of on pins and needles. Oh, yeah, I get to be the uncle that everybody fears. So, but anyways.
Goes along with the dad everybody fears, the friend
boss
everybody fears, the husband everybody fears.
Yep. Now, I had heard on J-Ski that Jeff Gordon has picked up a new sponsor.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be Panasonic TVs, and it's going to be debuting today.
So with that being said, do you see Jeff possibly, because people in the series, in the media, has speculated that this could be the last year for Gordon. Do you see him going anytime soon, or is he here to stay now for a while?
They don't really talk about it very much. In fact, I should look up to see what his contract is. I don't think his contract is done at the end of this year. I think he's still got a few more years left. And he's got that lifetime contract with Hendrick. So he's not going anywhere. Let's see. Yeah, Jaski doesn't have his contract listed right now. But anyways, I think it's going to be... They're going to get... The only person that's going to push him out is Chase Elliott. Face it. I mean, that's the guy that Hendrick is banking on for the next big driver to come up into the stables. But more than likely what I see have happening is that Chase is going to race nationwide for probably the rest of this season and probably 2 more years after this.
See, I think
Maybe
this year and
year.
next, I think the rest of this season, I agree with you, but I think it's only going to be 2015, 2016. We'll see him in a Cup car.
And maybe he shares a ride with Jeff in that 24, but I think the most likely of scenarios is that Casey Kane isn't renewed.
No.
And I see Chase sitting down as a part-time ride in the 5 car. And I think Chase moves on. Casey moves on.
When I read the reports with Casey Kane about, are you going to be back with Hendrick? I'm sorry.
Sorry. He's not the singer. He's the car owner.
Yeah. So, before he takes a magic carpet ride.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah. I was kind of reading between the lines, and it seemed like Casey's vocabulary, it's almost like, in my opinion, he was nervous. He wanted to word it properly. He's done a lot of good things at Hendrick. He hopes to be at Hendrick for a long time. But when you say, I hope to be at Hendrick for a long time, that leaves room for others to go, well, you can kind of see where, you might be on the outs. So, he's keeping his options open. I tell you what, though, Casey's a great wheelman. He knows how to win races. He knows how to run up front.
But he's not doing it. Of anybody in that organization.
Right now, he's not doing it, but he has done it in the past.
When was the last time you legitimately said Casey Kane is a threat? Honestly.
I think he could be a viable threat week in and week out.
I don't think he can. I don't think he has the equipment right now, or not the equipment. I just don't think he has the cars right now to do it. Maybe it's time for a crew chief change because him and Kenny Francis have been together for so long. And Casey, I'm not, and please don't take this as I think Casey's not a talented driver. I think he is a talented driver. Something isn't working though, because he is not it's almost like he's racing for Roush Fenway right now. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You had to go there.
I'm kidding. But seriously, it is though, because he just disappears in the races. And this weekend had himself a good race. But I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Kyle Busch didn't have a very good race. Kyle Busch ends up 41st on the score sheet. Martin Truex Jr. 37th. Let's see, Eric Almirola, after running pretty well, starting 4th, ends up 31st. Austin Dillon 30th, who was having himself a great top 10 finish. But then he had a cut tire and had to come into the pits, and he didn't get any of the cautions to fall his way. Ends up 30th. He actually had to come into the pits twice and get flat tires fixed. Carl Edwards finished 23rd. Greg Biffle 20th. Let's see. And I think the other Roush Fenway car.
Where'd Edwards finish?
23rd.
23rd, and Biffle finished where?
20th. And Ricky finished 27th.
And there's that Roush Fenway mediocrity.
Yeah.
Mediocrity.
Yeah. They got to do something about it. The drivers don't even sound confident when they're talking about it in the pits. A lot of times you'll hear the guys, well, we're not winning, but we're moving in the right direction. You're not hearing that. You're hearing, we're finding some things. Well, it's dancing around.
You've been there for so long, you should have found it already. I mean,
it's tough because, obviously Hendrick is now all of a sudden dominating again with them winning the last 5 races. Dale's got 2 wins. Jimmy's got 3 wins. Jeff's got a win. Just got to get Casey moving up in the right direction. And that's the other thing. When your other teammates are doing so well, but you're still struggling, that kind of it puts a spotlight on your inability to finish. So very interesting to see what's going to go on with those. Let's keep going. We'll do some news and notes. And then we'll get into turn number 2, which we're going to talk with Joe Kosiski about the Charlie Clark Memorial makeup.
That's going to be an awesome race.
It's going to be a spectacular race.
Are you going to that?
I am definitely, absolutely going to try to. That's so far away. That's a whole week away on my Sunday, but I'm pretty sure.
That's the day after a Saturday night when you could be down at Quaker Steak and Lube, enjoying yourself a lube.
That's a
lube
good
tube.
point. That's a good. And there's a Saturday night race the night before that, too, on NASCAR.
There you go.
We'll be live that Sunday morning. Put it in your calendar. Next Sunday, we are live. In your calendar, too, as you're listening to us. All right, a couple NASCAR news and notes. Not something you hear every day, but a sponsorship for a track has been extended. Toyota extends their multi-year contract with Sonoma Raceway through, I believe, it's got another 4 or 5 years extension on it to be the partner, the co-sponsor of it. Right now, it's the Toyota Save Mart 350, which is going to go on today at Sonoma Raceway, and they're going to continue to be that sponsor. Have been since 2007, so it's good to hear that when you hear about such sponsorship issues that a lot of these tracks are having.
And what I like about that, you got the 10-year there for that. And so a lot of times, back when Sprint Cup was known as the Winston Cup, how many years did it go being known as the Winston Cup?
Oh, yeah.
A lot. And,
talking about the Sprint Cup, it may actually be changing. Jayski.com put out a notice earlier this week that the Sprint may go away and may turn into the T-Mobile Cup because T-Mobile is talking about purchasing Sprint. And so it may turn it like what happened with Sprint purchased Nextel. And so eventually it went from the Nextel Cup to the Sprint Cup. It may move on to the T-Mobile Cup.
As long as I can have Catherine Zeta-Jones, wave the green flag from T-Mobile.
I wouldn't complain at that. How about this? How do you like the way this sounds? Comcast Xfinity NASCAR Truck Series.
Comcast
Xfinity
Truck Series.
NASCAR
That's kind of got like a futuristic
You think so?
feel to it.
You think so? I don't know if I liked it, but Comcast is in supposed negotiations to be the title sponsor for the NASCAR Truck Series. Now, take a wild guess how much you would assume NASCAR is asking on an annual basis for the sponsorship of the Truck Series.
I'm going to take a wild guess here, $250 million.
12.
What?
$12 million.
Do you know that some of these Cup teams, some of their sponsors pay way more than that?
Well, we know that M&M's and I know Home Depot paid more than that when Tony Stewart was driving the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. So yeah, that's
$12 million. That's a bargain for an entire
now,
truck series.
I'm sorry, not the truck series. It's the nationwide.
Or the nationwide series.
It's currently the nationwide series. So I'm sorry. But still, I was thinking when I was saying it was a truck series, I could kind of understand for the truck series because it's the third tier. But you're talking about the second tier of the series that. You're paying 12 to 15 is
if
what
it's going to be the Comcast Infinity series. Because I almost want to say nationwide series still, but when it's the Comcast Infinity series, everybody's going to abbreviate to Comcast series.
Reading on through this, or the Xfinity series.
Xfinity. I'm sorry.
The reading on through this, Jayski predicts that the total cost of the deal. With everything involved, would be closer to $25 million. So they would pay probably 12 to 15 cash to NASCAR, and then there would be extra things that would go involved with sponsorships and advertising and fulfillments that they would need to do.
I think that's a steal.
That is a steal.
That's a great investment right there. Because that the TV rights and whatnot, right? I would do that for $25 million.
Here's the last one. We've been hearing a lot of this, and I actually applaud these guys. I heard it first when we were talking about Brian Vickers. A few years ago when he lost his full-time ride, he'd had offers to go and race for several teams, but decided not to. Instead, he chose to sign a partial deal with Michael Waltrip Racing. And I thought, well, if you've got the opportunity to go race a full season, why not do it? And the reason behind that was because he didn't want to be in a bad organization, one that's not headed in the right direction. Turns out he chose right. He went with Michael Waltrip Racing, who was on the up and up, who's doing very well for themselves, and now he's racing full time. Sam Hornish Jr. said the exact same thing last weekend. He said that he's not going to jump into any ride that comes along. He wants to make sure it's a quality ride, which is why he signed a partial nationwide deal with Joe Gibbs Racing rather than going and picking up a full-time ride with one of these lower-tier organizations. It's kind of interesting to see that theme continue. I guess I assumed at the beginning getting into this, thought that I've got an opportunity, I'm just going to go, let's go out there and race. But it takes a lot of technology in an organization that goes in the right direction.
And I think these guys are onto something. a long time ago, a lot of us were offered a Cup ride. If we really truly wanted to drive in the Cup, we would take that offer because God knows if another one's ever going to arrive. But by taking a step back and being proactive about your own future, going, you know what, I'm not going to take anything. I want to make sure it's a fit for me. Mm-hmm. I think that's a nice proactive approach from the driver's standpoint, and I think that will help them in their career.
I think you're absolutely right on that. All right, let's take a little bit of a break. We'll come back. Joe Kosiski will join us. We'll talk Charlie Clark Memorial makeup. We'll talk Silver Dollar Nationals, and we'll talk a whole lot more coming up in turns 3 and 4. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is heating up the menu with bold new sauces and fresh new flavors. Try the Southwest Fajita Salad, Steak on Steak Burger, or What the Fudge Bar Jar Sundae.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
We're working the High Line into Turn 2 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Hi, this is Mike Helton, president of NASCAR, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Heading into turn number 2 here on the Front Stretch, presented by Kosiski Auto Parts, online at KosiskiAutoParts.com. That's Kosiski with a K. Get to Kosiski's today. It's the best salvage yard in town. Premium recycled parts at an affordable price, and it's the easiest thing you can do. Just walk in. I'm sure you guys have been getting a lot of hail damage inquiries.
Yeah, a lot of glass. Selling a lot of glass, a lot of deck lids, a lot of hoods right now. Yes, sir.
That's the voice of Joe Kosiski, owner of Kosiski Auto Parts, and the man that you're going to go see when you need to get your window replaced, you need to get some of your fenders replaced, your paneling replaced, and then even parts batteries. That's the biggest thing. You've got an entire warehouse full of batteries that you're basically wanting to get rid of.
Batteries, engines, transmissions, we got it all. Tires, used tires, we sell a lot of them.
Don't do this social media thing. Don't do the phone. Just head down. Put an eyeball to somebody. You get to meet Andrew. You get to meet all the great employees over at Kosiski Auto Parts. Tell them your make and model. Even find your serial number, your VIN number, and they'll be able to find the exact part you need. 51st and I Street in Omaha. That's 51st and I Street, just off of L, just to the south a little bit there. Wanted to have you in studio, Joe.
Actually, it's to the north of L.
Oh, God, that's right. What am I thinking? I'm thinking down the hill. I haven't made that mistake since I was like 3. It's good I did it again. Wanted to have you in studio because you guys made a decision on what you're going to do for the Charlie Clark makeup. Beautiful night, awesome night. Unfortunately, Mother Nature, as she has been lately, a little moody, and she ruined our last 2 features for the Charlie Clark Memorial, which was the B mods and the A mods. And the A mods. So, what's the plan to make up for that race?
Well, kind of here's what the deal was. The race program was a completed program, and I could have just went and handed money to all the racers, and we want to be able to have a 6th annual Charlie Clark winner. So what do? You know what I mean? You just hand them the money and everybody's the winner. You hand them the money, there's not a winner. So we went ahead and said, we got the June Jamboree that we're doing here at the 29th of June, which has 4 classes of cars. It's got the good old timers, which is Gatra. It's got
Gatra series.
A mods, it pays $1,200 to win that night. It's got B mods, which pays $600 to win that night, and then it's got the IMCA Stock Car Pro-Ams that pays $1,030 to win that night. So we got a little over a $10,000 person. I says, why don't we put them 2 features in, because them 2 classes are there, and make it a good deal. So what we done is we went and we made 2 tickets for the adults that really wanted to come and see the Charlie Clark, but now they're going to have to watch another whole program. Bless their hearts. I mean, for a whole $15, a whole $15 for 2 adults. You don't get into a regular show, let alone something like the June Jamboree.
Stop twisting my arm, please. Yeah. I'll come back and watch a special any day. In fact, now, I'm definitely going to be there next Sunday. The
only thing I can tell you about them tickets, to get them for the $15, they do have to be bought on our website at I-80 Speedway before Saturday night. Saturday night, they go off the special, and then it's $12
and that's the 28th, correct?
That is Saturday the 28th, yeah.
All
so
right.
they've got basically all week to buy them from Sunday morning here till next Saturday night. They've got basically a whole week to buy them, and they can make good money, or, they can make a good purchase at $7.50 a piece, and 2 adults come out and see the races.
And I love, by the way, the online ordering is so easy. I filled it out within about 5 minutes when I bought my Charlie Clark Memorial tickets. I think it was the week in advance. Got a nice little special on them. And then all you do is fill out the information, your credit card information. It's all secure, and then your tickets are available at will call.
At will call window,
There's
yes,
no
sir.
need to go pick them up anywhere else. It's really quick and convenient. So we're going to do the makeup race for the Charlie Clark Memorial, the B mods and the A mods. Is that going to be before the Jamboree?
Well, I'm kind of letting a few of the guys, and I shouldn't say a few of the guys, I'm going to let them kind of do their own decision. I really don't care if we run the first 2 races on the track. I don't care if we run the heats for the Jamboree, then run the Charlie Clark makeup features, and then come back with the Jamboree features. That way the racetrack, I like the racetrack to be in its best shape.
Yeah.
If we could run all 4 classes of heats, maybe even a B feature in the IMCA stock cars or something, then run the 2 Charlie Clark races, come back and run the A feature for the Gatra, the Trophy Dash, whatever they have in there, with the A feature for the IMCA stock cars, and come back and run the June Jamboree B mod, A mod.
I really, because it's tough to run a feature with a track that hasn't been worked in very well yet, because you want to make sure the whole groove is worked in.
We had a lot of people that come back on social media and kind of ripped us a little bit. Well, we already bought our tickets. We don't want to have to pay another show to come in. If we would have come back with 2 races, you'd have never got the track packed in.
Yeah.
You'd have seen 2 boring races.
Yep.
It would have taken the drive out to the speedway in order to watch 2 races, which they would have complained about that in most cases. So we tried to put on another big race to make this thing all fall in place.
Yeah.
And if we would get rain on the 29th and, something would happen, the reason we want to run the Charlie Clarks early enough is so everybody can get the Charlie Clark part in. And, we'd have them features of the June Jamboree that we could move on to, back at the Cornhusker or maybe with the Fall Brawl or something like that, and try to make them work in.
Well, I think, there was criticism of you guys, like you said, it was a complete show, basically, in anybody's eyes. It was a complete show. You got 2 of the 4 features in. I'm really happy you guys are at least making it up. I take cues from NASCAR all the time on how to run this stuff. It's kind of compare it to how local dirt tracks do it. Let's face it, in a 400-lap race, they get to 201, the rain comes, race is over with. They're not coming back later that night to finish up the 200 or the next weekend. They're done. You're out.
If it takes them over an hour to dry up the track. And I'll tell you what, that night there, we had to tow every vehicle out of the pits. We was there till about 11:30 and I want to say that I don't know how much rain we had that night, but the pits were just like a lake rather than like a pit area.
Well, at some point in time, you had to get a second tractor to help pull the first tractor to help pull the haulers out.
Yeah.
I was laughing at, kind of joking with Buddy last weekend about it when we were talking about that. I think we were talking with Jack Dover, because he was trying to get out of there so that he can get stuck, and he ended up getting stuck just like as many guys did. But it almost became, after we sat there for long enough up in the scorer's booth with you and Lisa and everybody, it kind of became a bit of a game to watch as they were trying to pull these guys out. And does that make you? I'm just kind of thinking this question. Does that make you kind of nervous because that tractor spinning tires on the track, or is that easy to dig up?
That part
and
didn't really hurt nothing. That don't hurt nothing. More what you worry about is someone getting hurt, slipping, falling underneath of a rig while they're trying to tie them. So many things for the safety factor.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of employees there. That we're still trying to pay. It wasn't just 2 tractor drivers. You got to have employees outside to be unhooking because the guy can't get up and down off every tractor. We towed out over 100 vehicles that night. So you've got a couple employees outside trying to watch for safety. You got a couple inside. We got the fire crew was up by the highway trying to help get cars lined up as these big rigs are pulling out, trying to line up with cars going out the best we could do. And you only have so many. And it's like, we had a couple calls back that says, how come you didn't give us more cars to try to help clear the parking lot? And it's like, I've only got so many employees.
Yeah. You were trying your best to get the show over with in time before the rain came. I think you guys even cut the sprint car feature down about 3 laps.
Yeah, we cut it down from a 25. It was going to be a 25-lap feature. We said, let's just make it a 22. That's what we're running the B mods. Yeah. That's what we run the hobby stocks, and that's what the 2 halves. So everything would have been 22 laps then.
And by the way, hindsight says that was a perfect call.
Yeah.
If you'd have gone 23 laps, we wouldn't have got it done.
It might not have got it would have been like that NASCAR race you was talking about. It was over at 22 anyway.
That was about it. Okay. So this Sunday, June 22nd. Next Sunday is the June Jamboree, non-sanctioned races with A mods, B mods.
A mods is $1,200 to win. B mods is $600 to win. The IMCA Stock Car Pro-Ams is $1,030 to win. It's the 30th year anniversary for the Pro-Am, so that's why we use the 30 on the IMCA Stock Car Pro-Am race, and the Gatras are there also. And anybody can come and race it, not just the guys that are in the Charlie Clark, but anybody cannot get in the Charlie Clark, because even if a guy doesn't show up, he deserves his money he was going to make that night. We're going to pay it to the guy that was qualified on the night of the Charlie Clark. So if he doesn't come back, he's still going to get his start money, whatever it was. We'll mail it to him.
Okay.
We understand that there was some problems there, and I mean, we was racers ourselves. We tried to do it the best way we could make it work out for everybody.
Hey, by the way, this may be a sore subject, but how you coming on getting those transponders back?
I still got a couple of them out and about.
But they're coming back in?
Yeah, we've gotten most of them back. I think she told me she's down to 4 of them she needs yet. And, them things are $300 a piece, so we're sitting with $1,200 out in people's cars. And, them 4 might not get a check mailed to them if they don't show back up. But,
and you know who they are, by the way, because you have their license.
Yeah, well, not necessarily their license. We've got all the numbers that she gives out.
Yeah.
We know where they're at in the case, and she knows exactly who's got what number.
If you're one of them that has one of those 4s, just mail them back. Take them over to Kosiski Auto Parts. Take them with you out to the June Jamboree when you go out to make up the Charlie Clark. Just get them back. Let's not cost these tracks any more money than we need to. 5:55 green flag next Sunday for the June Jamboree and the Charlie Clark makeup. Easiest way to do it: get your tickets online in advance. Just go to i-80speedway.com. Go to the schedule, the full schedule menu, and then there's a buy tickets link right next to it. It's really super easy to do. I recommend that you do it today.
Well, before they go to the Jamboree, they could come on the 27th and go to the Alphabet Soup Race. That's going to be a great weekend next weekend. I mean, we got the Alphabet Soup Race, which is the MLRA Corn Belt Clash, and Mars cars coming from all over the area. The big super late models with the Nebraska 360 Sprinters. Grand Nationals are running that night for $500 to win, or the crate late models, whichever way you want to call them, and also the Hornets.
And I just saw Nebraska 360s.
Yeah, Nebraska 360s will be back on Friday the 27th.
That'll be great. So you'll be able to see maybe another duel between Dover and Danny the Dude.
Danny the Dude.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be able to see.
I forgot who he was racing with that night. I kept wanting to say Brian Brown. I'm going, no, it's not Brian Brown. Who was it but it was Danny the Dude that night.
Friday, June 27th, the Alphabet Soup Race, MLRA, CBC, MARS, Super Late Models, non-sanctioned Grand Nationals, Hornets, and Nebraska 360s. Green flag at 7:15. No regular NASCAR Weekly racing that week?
There's no NASCAR Weekly racing on the weekend of the 27th. There's no NASCAR racing at I-80 Speedway on July 4th.
Yep,
we moved all these guys back with this June Jamboree and everything going on this weekend. We had a lot of help that wanted to take off for the 4th, so we're giving them the day off. They all want to go to the lakes. They want to go camping.
Yeah.
And it's easier for us to work with the help because it makes them a whole lot happier when they come back to work on the 11th to the NASCAR race.
Exactly. And then it's so I was talking to Lee about this earlier in the week. I said, Silver Dollar National, 6, 7, 8 weeks away. He goes, Dan, they're 4 weeks away.
And you know what?
Oh, God.
and the ticket sales, it's like yesterday, something rang. I'm sorry, it was on Thursday. Something rang, ticket sales. It was like, wow, what happened? They just all started buying their tickets. They want to get their seats reserved.
Yep.
So they're going real good. Tickets are selling great.
And thanks to you, we have our next 4-week Pick'ems contest that we're going to be doing. We're going to be giving away Silver Dollar Nationals tickets. Buddy and I will talk more about that in turn 4. We'll get you caught up on all the Pick'ems contests. We appreciate you helping out with that, by the way. Big biggest race of the year for us locally here in Omaha for dirt racing, so it's awfully nice you're offering up some tickets to be able to go to that. We could take up a whole nother show just talking about this race. Thursday, Friday, Saturday race. Some of the biggest late model names you're going to have in the nation are going to be here one more time. Scott Bloomquist, Jimmy Owens Jr., Billy Moyer Jr. I think Billy Moyer Jr. has even got a son that's probably racing a late model by now. Just some of the biggest names you're ever going to get.
They'll be here.
July 17th, 18th, and 19th, the Silver Dollar Nationals. But before we get to all that, man, it's just, you got so many things coming up. I better start pre-recording a bunch of interviews right now.
Well, we got 3 weeks from today, from this show till the Silver Dollar Nationals, so we can get back on here and really pop up the Silver Dollar. Hey, if anybody wants to go see the greatest race in what I call the Midwest, almost last year it was voted to be the second best race in the country by Dirt on Dirt. And Dirt on Dirt covers all the big ones from Florida to wherever.
Ryan Gustin's going to come back, right?
Yeah, Ryan Gustin will be back for this race. He's excited about it. He's going to be back for the Alphabet Soup race. That's how he got in last year, is because he won the Alphabet Soup race. We give the Alphabet Soup race winner
a provisional
into the
Silver Dollar
Nationals. You betcha.
I tell you what, that was it was so insane to hear so many of those drivers talk about the driver of the race was Gustin.
Yeah.
It was so interesting to hear all the big time drivers talk about it. Ben Shelton, who we've had on the show several times, keeps referring to it. Scott Bloomquist talked about it. Kenny Schrader kept talking about it. The coolest thing they watched the entire time was just watching Gustin knock off car after car after car, finally catch Owens, start putting distance on him, and then and then got to the back.
When he got to about 8th or 9th, everybody goes, "When did they lap Gustin?" And then they started watching a little more, and he just keeps picking them on, going to the front. They didn't realize he was coming.
Yeah,
it was that good of a race. So,
Joseph, I told you I'd only take 10 minutes. I've taken 15.
Sounds good.
As I always do. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend. This Friday is the Alphabet Soup Race. You can buy tickets online or get them at the gate. Then Sunday, June Jamboree, the makeup for the Charlie Clark. Get them in advance. You can only get them in advance online at i-80speedway.com. Thanks all for joining us, Joe. We'll see you again soon for the Silver Dollar Nationals preview.
Sounds like a winner.
Have a good one, Joe. We'll be back in turn 3.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Saturday nights, come see the Midwest's best battle at the fastest third-mile track. Gates open at 5:30 for IMCA Modifieds, Sport Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, and Race Saver Sprint Cars. Eagle kicks their season off on April 19th with the Icebreaker Challenge, featuring the debut of the Race Saver Sprint Cars. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is heating up the menu with bold new sauces and fresh new flavors. Try the Southwest Fajita Salad, Steak on Steak Burger, or What the Fudge Bar Jar Sundae.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Heading into turn number 3 here on the front stretch, presented by Alters Metal Recycling. Expect more from Alters. Locations all throughout the Midwest, including in Iowa, right there in Council Bluffs. You can take over your scrap metal, be it your car, be it your race car, race trailer, or like I did, I replaced all the storm windows in my house last winter.
My B-Mod.
Yep, took all my scrap metal down there. If you happen to have scrapped your race car, just get a little money out of it. Take it down to Alters Metal Recycling. They'll do the right thing.
You know, prices are actually not that bad on scrap iron, but when they saw my B-Mod come across the scale, I had to pay them to take it.
Not a surprise. Joining the studio now by a man who I would imagine hasn't scrapped many race cars. Very talented driver. Dennis Cook joining us of the Cooker Chassis. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Doing very well this year so far, I've seen, right?
Yeah, we got 4 wins, 2 at Harlan and 2 at I-80.
You actually been close on a couple other wins that just kind of like slipped right out of your fingers, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, we've had a few altercations that have kept us out of victory lane, but the car's been good, and hopefully we'll get quite a few more wins. This is early to have 4 for me, so having a good year. This
early, having 4 wins, you've actually had production cars in the past. You had that 95 Harris, and you're out here, beating guys with newer cars, and then you build this cooker chassis of your own. Does that give you a little bit or quite a bit more sense of accomplishment doing it with your own car this time?
Oh, yeah, you have no idea. It's very rewarding to the fact that me and my sons built this car and that we've got it to the winner's circle. And the one drawback to having your own car like this, there's nobody to ask about it.
Well,
no one to help you with technical assistance.
You shouldn't have a whole lot of questions right now with as good as you're running.
Well, I really don't. And I've gotten a little assistance from Jesse Sobbing, and I've been working with Dylan Smith with my shock package and trying to get smarter about the shocks that people are running nowadays, the younger kids.
So if you can help me, what shocks are you running?
I got one on the left front, one on the right front.
Wow.
That's a good place to start. Put a shock on both
They're
fronts.
9-inch tall and they're round.
Well, that's where you're screwing up, bud. On the front ones, they're 7-inch.
Oh, okay. All right.
Driver of the number 45 Home Pride Motorsports B-Mod out at I-80 Speedway and Shelby County Speedway there in Harlan. Like we kind of talked about, your season's going very well. Is it nice having Luke on your side this year with putting sponsorship on the side of that car? And does it alleviate a little bit of that sponsorship pressure and put some technology in your pocket?
It has a little bit. I mean, Luke's helped me financially, and we're getting tires from Jesse Sobbing, and Jesse's gave me a little bit of pointers on things to try with the car, and it's all been a very beneficial thing for me.
And that's got to be, you talked about, even though Jesse's now an A-Mod driver, he was a very successful B-Mod driver. How much do you tap that well of Jesse's success when he was in the B-Mods?
Well, I always have questions for him, and he has a tendency to come over and look at my car and poke me here and there, and everything he's mentioned to me has been good adjustments. So,
can you get him to talk?
Oh yeah.
What's the secret?
What's a secret?
Well, I'd say the biggest secret is I'm per se's teammate now.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't see you as a threat like he does us, because we're looking to have fun with him, but
he's kind of a soft-spoken, quiet kind of guy, but I guess when you are teammates and you're sponsored by the same guy, you might want to talk.
Well, and Jesse and I were friends prior to this, too. And,
yeah.
Interesting story, when I first met Jesse, I got claimed at I-80, and I'd blown up the motor I had the week before, and I didn't have a spare motor, and I was second in the points behind Jesse in the sport mods. And Jesse was the first one to come over and offer me a motor or a car to continue to race. We had 1 week in the season left, and that's how I met Jesse Sobbing.
And we should say, we give him a hard time, but Jesse is an incredibly approachable guy, really nice guy. He's very easy to talk to. We just give him a hard time because he's a little skittish around media, which
I'd be skittish around you too.
Yeah, well, I see myself in the mirror and I get skittish.
If our listeners could go to Kansas Speedway and see you and I interact, boy, they'd understand.
It looked like a cartoon fight with question marks and money symbols coming out of a dirt cloud and cussing and spitting and hollering.
Not to mention the sausages.
Oh, God, that story. We can't tell it on air. We'll have to tell it another time. Talking with Dennis Cook, driver of the 45 Home Pride Motorsports Company, B-Mod. Planning on going out to do the Makeup Charlie Clark reunion? Are you planning on going out to the makeup show for the Charlie Clark Memorial on the 29th?
Yes, I am. I'm already qualified. I don't remember where I start exactly, but it's middle of the field somewhere. I'm qualified.
We'll see you in the front, though, before long, right?
That would be my game plan, yes.
Joe and I today were actually at I-80's office, and we were looking at the top 10 points. Of course, you're right up there, I think 8 points out from Blaine Peterson. And we were talking, in the last few years, not to reference Jesse over and over, but, he's kind of running away with it. And you were right there with Jesse. But it seems like this year, we literally looked at the top 8. The top 8 could win just about any night, we think. Would you say it's fair that the competition at I-80 has gotten better?
Well, I think they get better every year, bud. All of us get better. The younger, newer guys that show up, I think they do well because they don't have any bad habits to break. Learning to drive these crate-motored cars, I've had some bad habits to break that I've learned over the years.
You?
And, yes, me. I've always been a good race car driver. I wouldn't say I'm a great race car driver, but since I've been racing out at I-80, I think 5th is the worst I've finished in the points out there.
Give me an example of some of these bad habits you've had to break.
Well, one of them is just how you drive the car. With the crate motor and the rev limiter, you have to drive the car different. Mm-hmm. Per se, you don't let off the gas pedal. When I ran the open motored cars and, years ago when I ran a late model, and even we've learned so much more about making the cars go around the corners that you drive them different. You used to let off the gas, brake a little bit, and back onto the gas. Well, these crate motored cars, that's not how you drive them.
Yeah. A lot of drivers now are kind of watching video replay of maybe they've got an onboard, or they watch somebody from the stands, or they have somebody in the stands that videotapes them. Do you have anybody that does that, to go back and look over your driving and say, I should enter the corner, maybe I should set my corner up a little earlier or go a little higher in the groove?
I don't have anybody per se doing it for me, but I look at the ones that get recorded from the racetracks. I've even looked at still pictures and watched the cars that are winning, the attitude of that car and the attitude of my car, and compare the things. Mm-hmm. If a guy's winning, he's doing something right. The attitude of that car will tell you a lot compared to your own car.
Hey, by the way, happy birthday.
Thank you.
What are you, like?
36? 37?
36 with 30 years experience?
Not quite that bad.
But you're getting up there.
Yeah, 54.
So we're going to be having like a Lifetime Achievement Award for Dennis Cook here eventually.
Well, one could hope so.
One could hope so. I mean, Glenn Roby was doing it when he was, 80. I mean, what are you pushing, 90? Just.
Well, it is fun to race against the young kids, and to actually being successful right now and beating them, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
You mentioned young kids, and being you and I race against each other. But a lot of days in today's racing world, in the sport mods or the B mods, they always reference guys like you and I that have a little experience. Well, why are you guys racing against these little kids? These little kids, they might be kids to somebody like you. I mean, you're 15 years older than me, but these little kids are not slouches behind the wheels by no means. I mean, you got a couple, as you call them, knuckleheads out there from time to time, which I always love that term, the old knuckleheads. But you're going to have that in any class. But these B mods, they're not beginner cars, I don't think. What do you think about that? And when you talk about little kids and B mods,
well, they're per se not beginner cars today. That was the intent when the class was conceived, but they're really not entry level race cars. We as racers have changed that ourselves by spending money. Old guys like me have a tendency to buy the right correct pieces, whatever they cost, to get your car competitive. So it's really not a beginner class in that respect. It's a good class for a guy to get into to learn chassis and how to race if they want to progress to late models, sprint cars, whatever.
So with that being said, can you quickly give us a cooker setup sheet?
What are you looking for?
Well,
I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
I figure, a lot of companies, are just really secretive on their caster, camber, and their shocks, and their offsets, and their percentages. I mean, what do I got to do to my car to beat you, other than go the right way around the track?
Well, that'd be the first thing you got to do.
Run a 7-inch shock rather than a 9-inch shock.
Yeah,
that'd keep you from bottoming out that front end.
Which, by the way, I have no idea what that means, but I just repeated what he said. So
does it make you feel smarter?
A little bit. It did make me feel a little. I appreciate that, Dennis. By the way, if you could just give me a call every week and just feed me some stats to kind of just some simple things that make me sound smarter.
I chuckled with this already, Dan, because the last time I did the radio deal with him,
him? You look at me like I'm a plague or something.
You're surprised?
I got him again. He started spewing knowledge things out of his mouth, and they were incorrect, and I corrected him on the radio station.
Yeah.
Do you remember, buddy?
Nope.
Listen,
I do not recall that moment.
Dennis, if clearly you don't listen to the show because that happens every weekend. And it's little things, too. That he'll come. He's like, yeah, NASCAR, they go to Daytona 6 times a year. No, twice. Hey, Dennis, you're sitting 7 points behind Cody Olson at Shelby County Speedway for the Northern Sport Mods Points Series. Running well there. You got 2 wins down there. Cody, do you think you'll be able to catch up to Cody? 7 points is a lot to catch up to with, you guys probably have 10 races left?
Yeah, approximately. I think there's 10 or 11, but anyway, that is a lot. Cody, I need a little help from Cody to have trouble here or there, and I got to continue to run up front.
Mm-hmm.
What is the biggest difference? You and I have talked, outside of the show, away from the track. We've said that we're pretty good friends with each other. You come over to my shop, I go over to your shop. And it just seems like there's something going on at Harlan that just kind of is a thorn in your side. You run good there, but you just don't have the success that you have at I-80. What do you think that thorn is?
Well, this year I've made several mistakes, and I got to own up to my mistakes. You want to get mad at the racetrack and the calls they make, but bottom line is I've made mistakes, and otherwise I'd be leading the points over there right now.
Is that does that get you?
Oh, yeah. It makes me mad that I'm making mistakes, and, it's cost me the point lead over there.
Even with your experience, I'm still getting the vibe that honestly, you just celebrated a birthday. You kind of hinted towards you're getting towards your upper age, but it doesn't seem to stop you from being any less competitive. You want to make sure and still go out there and whoop them.
Well, that is most racers' goal is to win races, and I was very competitive from the early age in sports in high school, and the competitive side of me has never disappeared, so I want to win.
Check Dennis Cook out Friday nights at I-80 Speedway for the weekly NASCAR series, Saturday nights at Shelby County Speedway for the IMCA Point Series and the B-Mods. Also, Dennis will be out there on Sunday, June 29th for the Charlie Clark Memorial Makeup.
One thing I've always wondered, you run a lot of I-80 and Harlan. Those are kind of your home tracks. You run good at those tracks, but I don't ever see you run a lot of bull rings. I've never seen you make the occasional trip to like an Eagle. I know you go to Boone every year to watch. You love going to Boone, watch the Super Nationals. If you've never really given that a shot, have you ever thought about actually going and maybe trying one of those smaller style tracks?
Well, I raced at Eagle in the 80s, and my experience at those racetracks, it's hard on equipment. And I just choose not to, the beating and banging's not my thing. I don't like to wreck my race car. I don't like to tear up my race car. So I choose to run the other tracks. And the other thing for me, financially, mileage, it makes sense. I got the same drive to both those two racetracks.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, we've been talking with Dennis Cook, driver of the number 45, Home Pride Motorsports, B-Mod out at Harlan and I-80 in Greenwood, Nebraska. Dennis, thanks so much for taking the time, and best of luck at the Clark next weekend.
All right, thank you. Glad I could be here.
We'll be back in turn 4 to wrap it all up. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
So you raced your car this weekend, and it ended up on the wrecker. Alter Metal Recycling in Council Bluffs wants to remind you it's not a total loss. Bring it by their modern scrap metal recycling facility and get top dollar for your car. Alter has a full concrete unloading zone, so you don't have to deal with muddy loading zones, and pays on the spot for your car. Alter Metal Recycling is open 6 days a week, with locations in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and more. Find your location online at altertrading.com.
This week's young gun on the front stretch is Brianna Fansteel. Brianna has been around racing her whole life. Her father is a mechanic and a diehard race fan, which led her to climb into her first kart at 9 years old. In fact, Brianna says she fell in love with racing while she was still in the womb. Hearing the sound of engines started her on the path to dirt racing. Brianna finally got her opportunity to race after watching her brother Chase race Junior 2 karts at Waverly, Nebraska. Brianna is tearing up the track at Mini E in the number 33 yellow and black Avenger chassis Junior 2 medium clone kart, who her mother has nicknamed the Bumblebee. Outside of racing, Brianna makes sure to keep her grades top-notch and made the honor roll, and she's also received the Outstanding Student Achievement at Lincoln North Star High School. Brianna also enjoys band, track and field, dance, theater, and so much more. Make sure to keep your eye out for the number 33 Bumble Brie, driven by Brianna Fansteel. She's this week's Young Gun on the front stretch.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he's talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Hey, this is Matt Kenseth, and you're listening to The Front Stretch.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up. Heading to turn number 4 here on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Online at joeskarting.com. Want to say a big thank you to Joe Kosiski and Dennis Cook for joining us on the show today. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the announcement of what we're going to do for the next 4-week contest. This is really cool. And, buddy, I appreciate your help me on this, too, because you gave me an idea to make it just go to that next level. To make it a little cool. Yeah. Here's the basics of it all. The easy thing we've done so far. The winner of we have to do a 4-week contest because I did my math wrong and I realized that the Silver Dollar National is only 4 weeks away, not 5 weeks away. So it's a 4-week contest. There's going to be a tiebreaker that's going to have to come into this. I know there is. All right. Best accumulative points average between Sonoma today and New Hampshire on July 13th. That's a 4-race points-paying race, or 4 points-paying races. The best accumulative average wins 2 tickets to the Friday Silver Dollar Nationals and 2 tickets to the Saturday Silver Dollar Nationals.
So if I win this...
You can't.
Which I can, but if I was eligible to win... I'm winning 4 tickets. 2 for Friday and 2 for Saturday.
And we're going to put a little icing on the cake, but we're going to continue on. And we'll come back to the icing in a little bit. We're going to eat the meat of the cake first and enjoy the icing a little bit later.
Right.
Second place, we're going to give away another pair of tickets. Second best accumulative points, not average. The best accumulative points over the 4-race period gets 2 tickets to Friday night. Third place, same thing. 2 tickets to Friday night. Tiebreakers will come down to who picked the most wins. If we need a second tiebreaker, it'll be most top 3s. If we need a third tiebreaker, it'll be most top 5s. If we need a fourth, it'll be most top 10s. So on from there until we have ourselves a winner. Now, the winner needs, you felt like, a little more. Let's do something a little bit more. And I really enjoyed, when we go down, we get to go down to Kansas and Iowa Speedway, of watching the garage tours. And you said, well, why can't we do that at the Silver Dollar Nationals? And I thought, well, why can't we? So we sat and talked about it for a while, came up with the logistics of it all, and I gave our friend Ben Shelton at MSR Mafia a call.
You're kidding me.
I said, Ben, would you be able to, I'm sorry if I'm imposing on you, but would you be interested in giving some lucky listeners a tour of the pits at I-80 Speedway during the Silver Dollar Nationals on that Saturday night, the final night of racing? Take them around and show them Jimmy Owens, show them Ryan Gustin, show them Scott Bloomquist. Help me out with some names here. Show them Billy Moyer. Show them all
Ryan
these
Gustin.
guys. I said, yeah. And show them all these guys and talk to them about how the cars are set up, how they do this, how they do that, what they should expect tonight. And he said, Dan, I'd love to.
No way.
Yeah, he's absolutely going to do it. Great. It's awesome. So we've got the tentative lined up for you at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Whoever the winner is gets 2 tickets to Friday, 2 tickets to Saturday, and they get an exclusive tour with Ben Shelton, the pit reporter for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. That is a big part of the Silver Dollar Nationals.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to go around. And there's
the biggest dirt track race in the state of Nebraska.
We can't guarantee anything, but you know this as well as anybody else. When's your best opportunity to get an autograph, before or after the races?
A lot of times it's before the races because after the races, they're getting swamped by everybody, and then you're going to be standing in line for 45 minutes before the races. You come on up. You know, these guys, a lot of these guys have paid pit crews, so their paid pit crews are working on the cars, and the drivers might be working on. But, you know, you and I have been to the Silver Dollar Nationals last 2 years. If we ever needed to talk to the driver before the races, the crew would be like, let me go get you, Mr. Chad Simpson.
So
you know,
you'll have that opportunity. If the driver's out there, Ben said to me, he said, I can't guarantee any autographs, but if the opportunity arises, Scott Bloomquist is sitting on the hall in there and you got something you want to get autographed, Scott will come over and autograph it for you. The thing is you got to get eye contact when you got to get him over there. So your best opportunity is before the races. It all starts today. If you want to get into this contest, you don't have to have been a part of it from the very beginning. You can still join and be a part of this 4-week contest. Whoever has the best 4-week racing accumulative points between Sonoma today and New Hampshire 4 weeks from now gets the 2 tickets to Friday, 2 tickets to Saturday, and the exclusive.
And you can only pick your driver once.
Yep. And there's a lot of guys, by the way, when we're talking about the Pick'ems contest, that are starting to run out of drivers.
You know, and I'm actually one of them starting to run out of drivers. But I tell you what, who won the previous 5-week segment?
John Dumpert won it by 1 point.
Are you serious? Over Sonia?
One single point. Took it away from Sonia Worth. You were third with 196 points, but, you know, of course, we talk about this. Technically, you can't win. But Craig Truitt, 177 points, tied with Monty Ullman at 177 points. Both took home third. And Dirk Husted came home in fifth with 174. It was a close contest.
But I tell you what, I was running away with. I mean, if I was eligible, I was running away with it. And guess where I finished? I didn't finish right there.
Overall points contest. John and Sonia, they both picked Kevin Harvick to win. They both got 44 points that weekend. Sonia still has a big lead over John Dumpert, who has another big lead over Teresa Wolf, who has a big lead over Monty Ullman. But as we keep preaching about, these big leads could disappear in no time.
Where am I overall?
11th.
Ooh, so I'm almost top 10.
Yeah. And by the way, you're 11. So you have 401 points. So
you know what's sad is I'm doing better in this than I am on the big track at I-80 with my real car.
Sonoma today, you're taking. You've got Jeff Gordon. I like that pick. He's always good at road courses.
My first 10 races killed me, but my last 10 races have been pretty respectable.
Well, when you started taking other people's recommendations, you got a lot better.
I didn't take anybody's recommendations.
Bull, you pulled all your picks off of a website. Don't lie. We talked about it on the front stretch. We talked all about it.
I may have used a gaming site that had some statistics, but...
All right, we are live next weekend as the Cup Series heads to a Saturday night race at Kentucky. Join us for that live Sunday morning. We're also working on getting a contest put together. We don't have all the details, but join us next Sunday as we'll do it all again on the front stretch. Green flag today for Sonoma at 2 p.m. So make sure you get your picks in before 2 p.m. Coverage on TNT and PRN. Buddy, have a great weekend.
You too, man.
This is AM 590 Omaha's ESPN Radio.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Saturday nights, come see the Midwest Best Battle at the fastest third-mile track. Gates open at 5:30 for IMCA Modifieds, Sport Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, and Race Saver Sprint Cars. Eagle kicks their season off on April 19th with the Icebreaker Challenge, featuring the debut of the Race Saver Sprint Cars. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.